Reading with your kids.
Hola, ni hao, konnichiwa, assalamu alaikum, shalom, jambo, bienvenidos. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are so happy that you're a part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on our readingwithyourkids.com website, on the iHeartRadio app, on Spotify, or wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is Forlanda Anderson. She's here to celebrate her wonderful book, Bully Me Not, My Faith Save Me. Before Forlanda joins us, we want to let you know that this episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast is brought to you by Unicorn Jazz. We love Lisa Caprelli's Unicorn Jazz. What makes Unicorn Jazz unique is her kind personality and her curiosities. She is a shy unicorn with a musical note for a tale. Her talent is realized in story after story, especially with her magical voice. It was important to create the Unicorn Jazz Friendship Song, found on most music platforms, to encourage the love of arts, books, creativity, and stories before we created this well-loved unicorn who goes on to meet many new friends as she explores a world of imagination, friendships, and being. Be sure to check it out today. Go to their website, unicornjazz.com. That's our friend Lisa Caprelli's Unicorn Jazz. We also want to invite you to join us at the Orange County Children's Book Festival in Costa Mesa, California. This is the largest children's book fair in North America, and the Reading with Your Kids podcast will have their own exhibit booth filled with lots and lots of fantastic books. We'll also be performing on stage. That's right. The Reading with Your Kids podcast at the Orange County Children's Book Festival, October 6th in Costa Mesa, California. Be sure to join us at our exhibit booth, and also check us out performing on the Illustrator stage in the noon hour and also after 2 p.m. That's October 6th, the Orange County Children's Book Festival. Joining us on the line right now from right outside of Nashville in Tennessee. She is the author of a wonderful new book called Bully Me Not, My Faith Save Me. And she's the driving force behind a fantastic website called Empowering Women Through the Storm. Please welcome to the show, Forlanda Anderson. Forlanda, how are you?
I am wonderful, Jed. How are you?
I am wonderful. I think I added an extra syllable. It's Forlanda Anderson, correct?
Yes, Forlanda Anderson.
Excellent. I'm always adding things where they don't belong. So, but you absolutely belong here, and us talking about Bully Me Not, My Faith Save Me is something that I'm real excited about. Tell us all about the book, please.
Yes, so Bully Me Not is my children's book series, which was first published in November of last year, 2018. So Bully Me Not, My Faith Saved Me is the newest book in the series. And this book has a focus on self-love, self-confidence, and faith. So this book is not only a book for the child, but it is a great treat for the parents as well. It shows the parents that children watch what you're doing and they pay so much attention to you, even when you're not realizing it and when you're not knowing. And they use what they learned from you when you're not around. So this book, I'm so excited about it. It was birthed from the fact that I wanted to be able to decrease the amount of suicides related to bullying each year. So this book is amazing, and everyone will love it, children and parents.
You know, there's so many things that you said that I want to talk about. One of the things you said is so very important. We've talked about it a lot here on the podcast, but it's so important we need to talk about it at every chance we get. The idea that we are our children's most important teachers.
Yes, definitely.
And I always say that some people correct me and they say, but no. What if the parent is not doing a good job? What if they're not being a good example? And I just say, that's right. They're still the most important teacher because they're teaching their children some lessons that they probably don't want to teach them. So we need to remember that we are our children's most important teachers. We are the people, and I think this blows parents away, especially as kids get older and reach their tweens and teens. Even when our kids want us to drop them off 2 blocks away from school and they don't want to be seen with us and all that other stuff, we are still the most important people in our kids' lives. We are the people who they most want to be loved by. They want our approval. They need our approval.
Yes, most definitely. They need us. They need support. They need guidance. They need someone to lead them and teach them. And if we don't do it, then who will? Absolutely.
And that's a really, really good point, because I think a lot, because I think their parents are so busy, and I think parents sometimes get intimidated and they're confused because they hear different messages. I think a lot of times parents have just kind of thrown up their hands and said, well, let the schools teach the kids this stuff. And
right.
And I don't buy that. When it comes to values and things like that, I think it's the parents' responsibility to teach that stuff to kids.
Definitely. The schools, they have just very little responsibility as to teaching children, but it starts in the home. The home is the very first place that the child should learn, the basics, the general things that they need to have and to be successful in life. It starts at home with the parents, and a lot of parents leave it up to the teachers and to the schools, and that doesn't go well. It doesn't go well.
Well, it doesn't. And, my wife is a teacher of over 30 years, and she's a special education teacher, and she certainly brings a lot of lessons of value and caring and empathy into the classroom. But, she's not trained to teach all those values. She's trained to teach reading, writing, introduce kids to STEM and history and geography, and she goes to workshops on that stuff and gets all sorts of training. She doesn't get training on the other stuff. I know we're talking more and more about social emotional learning in schools, and that's being introduced.
Yes.
But still, the values. I agree with you 100%. The values need to be taught at home.
Most definitely. It all starts at home. Social emotional learning, especially between the ages of 0 to 3. Now, the ages of 0 to 3 are the most important years of any child's life. Those years are more important than any adult years, than any teenage years. The age of 0 to 3, that age sets the trajectory of every person's life, as far as attachment, as far as brain development, everything. So what a parent does in those 3 years will mean the difference between a child being, successful or basically not fully developed and lacking social, emotional learning skills. So those 3 years are so important, and many parents don't know that, and they're not taught that.
So what kind of things do we need to do for our kids, especially during those first years?
So during those first 3 years, it is important that you teach your child that they can come to you. Basically, if a child is crying or if a child needs help and you just ignore them, or if you don't go to them and tend to their needs, then they're going to learn to, think for themselves and to be not as attached as they would be if you have those social, emotional learning skills to cope and to help them to cope, knowing that you would be there, that's really important. The social, emotional learning and the connection and the attachment during those years is what's most important.
Forlanda, how do we best teach those lessons?
So to best teach those lessons, there are many different things that you can do. You can go to social, emotional learning classes, and I am actually in the field of social work, so we teach that to the parents. It's different things that they can learn, such as parent and child interaction therapy, and social emotional learning classes, but basically just getting the proper training from the trained professionals in that field will best be able to help them. And just actually applying it to their daily lives. You know, you can go to as many classes and as many trainings and still not apply what you learn to your family and to your child, and it won't help. It won't be beneficial to go to those classes if you don't use the material that you learn. So just taking the time out of, you know, your busy schedule, just to actually learn how you can best support your child. So training, classes, and just getting professional help.
And one of the things I love about this podcast is we're all about inspiring families to spend more time reading together. And I think you'll agree with me that one really, really powerful way to help young kids know that they're loved is just that 15 to 20 minutes a day you spend reading together. There's so many, we know the benefits of helping the kids start to learn vocabulary and help them start understanding and reading, and that's the way how we lay down the foundation for them to start learning how to read themselves. But it's that time that we're spending with them when we're only spending it with them, and this person that they just cherish is taking the time out of their busy day to just be with them, to put them on their lap and to read and to talk and to just start that lifelong conversation that can be so important in the family.
Yes, definitely. It is definitely important to read with your child, and really for many different reasons. And I can discuss just a few of them with you and your listeners on today if you'd like me to.
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely. So first, reading with your child can create a bond between both the parent and the child. And this is especially important and helpful for parents who have a busy schedule or a busy lifestyle. Parents who are always on the go and need ideas for ways they can bond with their child or just engage in fun activities together. Reading with your child would be a great option. And reading with your child is also beneficial. It's a beneficial form of entertainment. So children always want to be entertained and they always want to play games and to just be busy doing something. And this is a very positive form of entertainment. Mm-hmm. It expands their knowledge. It expands their vocabulary. It helps them with their imagination, and reading with your child also helps them to understand what they are reading. I mean, it is nothing worse than telling your child to go and read for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, for an hour, and they can't comprehend what they are reading or can't pronounce the words. That will just make any child lose interest in reading and just not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things you said at the top of the show was that you wrote "Bully Me, My Faith Saved Me" because you wanted to make a difference, and you wanted to somehow cut down on the number of kids who are making that ultimate choice to end their own lives.
Yes, definitely. So I feel that children who make that decision to end their lives, they feel like nothing that anyone can do or say can help them. They feel like basically everything that they're being bullied about is true, which for me, I feel that if kids have self-confidence and self-love, then it doesn't matter what anyone say to them, what anyone do to them. What they do, it won't hurt them enough to lead them to suicide. They won't believe what the people say. Say for instance, you know, someone is picking on someone because of their height or because of their size. But if that person has enough self-love to love the way that they look and to love the way that they feel in their bodies, then suicide would never be an end result. So self-love and self-confidence are key to children, and bullying and suicide, they just have to love themselves. Mm-hmm.
It really is important, and I don't know, and I don't mean to throw a curveball at you here, but I know that the issue of suicide is huge and it's growing. Do you have any idea of how big an issue it is? Do you have any idea or any statistics of how many kids are making this ultimate horrible decision?
I know that I don't have the specific statistics, but I do know that the number of suicides are increasing. It's not decreasing, especially here in Tennessee. Every time I come home to Memphis, I watch the news and I see a new child that has committed suicide as a result of bullying. And I just see it so much, and it bothers me because I know that it could be helped, it could be stopped, and it could be put to an end if we just do the work that we need to do. And teaching them self-love and self-confidence and how to stand up for themselves is number one.
And yeah, I mean, you say things that are so important. I remember I present educational magic shows at schools around the country, and when I first started doing this and started visiting schools about 30 years ago, I remember being in one school, and a couple of the teachers shared with me that one of their fifth graders had committed suicide the week before. And in talking with the principal before the show, I just asked them, I heard about this, and I heard that one of your students committed suicide. Do you want us to, because we're talking about making choices here in the show, and is this something you want me to address, and how, if so, how? And he became very angry with me, and he turned to me and shouted, 10-year-olds cannot commit suicide. That was an accident. He did not commit suicide. It's inappropriate for you to even think that. And thank goodness we understand that he was wrong, that young kids are making this choice, and it's something that we absolutely need to address.
Yes, definitely. See, that's another main key ingredient to putting a stop to some of the things that happen. Is basically being able to acknowledge it and being able to accept what is going on, and being able to, before you can even fix anything, if you don't accept it, if you don't acknowledge it, you will never be able to work towards fixing it. So just being able to sit down and say that this is a problem, that's one of the first steps as well. Like, that is big. And for the teacher to just disregard the fact that this child could have committed suicide, then, that's a problem. That's a big problem. Being able to address it in a positive way and sit down and work through the steps of how you can fix it and what you can do is what everyone needs to do on this particular subject. It's very important.
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the things about your book, anybody who would be in a bookstore who looked at your book and saw the title, Bully Me Not, My Faith Saved Me, would understand that this is a faith-based book. What do you mean when you created, what were you trying to get across to kids when you wrote that title and chose to address the issue in this way?
Well, because I am a Christian and I'm religious and I believe in God, I feel like, this book should be, it's really targeted towards Christians and people who believe in God, and even people who don't believe in God, who want to find God. In this book, the main character, Thomas, he watches his mom, and his mom prays every night, and she's been praying for one particular thing, and he watched his mom pray and pray and pray until he finally saw what his mom was praying for happen. He saw it in bright daylight, and he saw it happen, and he was so surprised and so happy. And so he took what he learned from his mom, which was praying and having faith, and he used it when he was in a situation of bullying. And he was at school and someone was bullying him, and then he went and he prayed during the day, and he had faith, and he stood up for himself, and that is what got him out of the situation that he was in when he was bullied. I don't want to give away too many details, but that is one of the main things that I want parents to see and the children to see. I want them to see a healthy model in a Christian home. I want them to be able to see that having faith and praying can help you. It can get you out of situations, and it can change your entire situation. And I use that with bullying because it's important. In my book, it shows that, the parent goes to the child and tells the child the proper things to do when they are bullied, because the parent never knew. The parent never knew that, the child was watching her as she was praying and was watching and actually used what he learned when she wasn't around. So that's very important.
And I like to you mentioned it 2 or 3 times during the show, and that one of the ways that your character was able to deal with the people who were bullying him was after he prayed, he stood up for himself. That's something that we don't often hear in with books that are talking about bullying. We hear the kids need to go and tell an adult, and that's very, very important. But we don't hear what I guess is kind of an old school belief that one of the ways you deal with bullies is by standing up for yourself. And I'm sure you're not meaning by standing up and beating somebody up, but
right.
what do you mean when you're talking about standing up for yourself?
What I mean when I say stand up for yourself, I mean to act with confidence. I mean to not let the bully see you being afraid and actually believing what the bully is saying. Because if you don't stand up for yourself, then and you act scared and you cry and you run and you're sad, that's basically saying that you are believing what the bully is saying. You're believing everything that they believe about you. And if you stand up for yourself, it shows that you have confidence. It shows that you're not worried about what the person is doing or saying to you. And aside from standing up for yourself, of course you have to go and tell an adult. Tell an adult that you trust. If that adult isn't listening, go and tell another adult until someone is listening and until someone is helping you. Go and tell your parents. Go and tell someone, because you can't handle it on your own. What you can do is to have confidence, stand up for yourself, and have self-love. That's what you can do. So if you play your part, then go and tell an adult, then the situation can be handled. But if you just try and go and fight, or you're crying, or you're sad, or just keep it all bottled in, that's when different results happen. That's when suicide happens. That's when, violence and fighting and killing in the schools happen. That's when other things happen. But if you take the proper steps, then that can result in something totally different.
And I like how you put that, having confidence in yourself, and you're not ignoring that that those words hurt. You're not ignoring the pain that the child might be feeling, but you're encouraging the child to love themselves and to understand that those lessons that he learned from his parents, that he or she is valued and loved, that no one can take that away from them.
Right. No one can take away what you believe in yourself. No one can take away, what you believe, your beliefs, no one on the outside no one is in your head. No one can know what you're thinking and what you believe and what's in your heart. So by you having that self-confidence and self-love, that's in you. You got it. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to worry about anyone around you taking that away. As long as you got it, and as long as you cultivate it and keep it in, and use it. Use the power that you have within, and you're good. You don't have to worry about anything.
Absolutely. Well, I agree with you. I think you're taking a different approach than a lot of folks who are addressing the issue of bullying with kids. And I love that you're talking about it with young kids, helping them have that self-love, as you say, and helping, giving parents a tool that can help them communicate to the kids that they are incredibly important and incredibly loved.
Yes, definitely. You have to start young, because if you start, when they're in high school or when they're grown, it's possible to change and to help, but it's going to be more difficult. So starting when they're young is key. It's very important, because that's when they're still learning. That's when they need the guidance and to be led and taught. So if you start when they're young, you got them. Just keep it going.
Yeah, and like I said at the start of the show, it's the beginning of a lifelong conversation. I know a lot of parents are like, oh, I dread when I have to talk to my child about drugs or tobacco or sex or, and I'm like, well, you start that conversation when they're babies, when they're on their laps, and you're telling when you're talking to your kids about them being loved, and you're starting that conversation. Then when they get to be tweens and teens, those other issues, you've already been talking to your kids. And it just makes it easy. Hey, I don't want you to do this stuff because I love you. Remember that? We've been talking about that for 12 years now. Well, I still love you, and I don't want you to do stuff that's going to hurt you.
Yes. Yes, definitely. The conversations, they can be difficult, they can be hard, but they're necessary.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have them, then who's going to have it with them?
I've had a great time during our conversation here tonight, and I know folks are going to want to know more about Bully Me Not, My Faith Save Me, and they're going to want to know more about you. So tell us where folks can connect with you online.
So for my book and for me, you can connect with me via my website, and that's empoweringwomenthroughthestorm.org. You can connect with me on any social media platform, at Facebook or Instagram, at Forlanda Anderson. And, my books will be available on Amazon. They're available on Barnes & Noble and on my website. So different avenues to get in touch with me or to find my books.
We've had such a great time speaking to the author of Bully Me Not, My Faith Saved Me, Forlanda Anderson. Forlanda, thanks so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. I had such a wonderful conversation with you.
Please be sure to join us for the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be mother and daughter team, Nita Clark, Kathy Doherty. They are back to celebrate their wonderful picture book, There Are No Fireflies in Montana. We're also going to be celebrating Nita's 82nd birthday. 82 years old and still writing amazing, wonderful children's books. That's the next episode of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We want to thank the folks who made today's show so very, very wonderful. Of course, we want to thank our guest, Forlanda Anderson. Check out her book, Bully Me Not, My Faith Saved Me. Want to thank our sponsors, Lisa Caprelli. Be sure to check out unicornjazz.com. And please, please, please be sure to join us at the Orange County Children's Book Festival in Costa Mesa, California on October 6th. You can meet me, you can check out my magic shows, and you can also see lots and lots of books that we have celebrated here on the podcast at the Reading with Your Kids exhibit booth. I want to thank my amazing producer, Fatima Khan. Fatima not only writes the blogs for the show, she is also responsible for the beautiful readingwithyourkids.com website. Be sure to check that website out. We are in the process of renovating it. It is looking really, really super. Thanks to Fatima. I also want to thank my amazing daughter, Alejandra, for helping us with that revamp of the website. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all the support she gives me. And we want to thank you. Thank you so much for being part of our beautiful Reading with Your Kids family. And thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.